Hey guys, welcome back to Medical Coding with Blue. Today's episode is all about resume tips for brand new medical coders. If you are brand new to my channel, welcome. I am Blue, I'm a medical coder. Okay guys, so you are in that exciting time of looking for your first job in medical coding, but your resume, like you're starting to work on it, and how do you put anything on your resume if you have never been a medical coder or even had any medical background at all? What do you do? How do you put this? So today's episode, I'm going to give these tips. So let's begin. All right, first things first. Look at the current state of your resume. All right. Now, some people will want to farm this out to somebody else to do. I do resume rewrites. My rate is in the description box below. I will say this though, before you send it out to somebody else to write for you, you should consider writing this yourself. No one knows your skills better than you do, okay? When I do a rewrite, and I've done many successful rewrites, right? When I do a rewrite, I always meet with a person, and I have to meet with a person. We meet over Zoom. I meet with them to ask them what are they looking for. A lot of times it's not immediately clear in their resume what they're even looking for. So this is why I take the time to meet with you and kind of discuss some of your goals and what are some of the other skills that you may have that are not on your resume. So that's first of all. So if you're interested in that, my rate is in the description box below. If you are looking for feedback that I have, check my LinkedIn profile. I have a LinkedIn profile for Medical Coding with Blue, and my satisfied customers are there. But here's the other thing too. People have asked, oh, can I see samples of your work? No, because I am committed to protecting the privacy of my clients, number one. Number two, it doesn't make sense to leave samples if people are just going to copy. So no, I can't do that. So again, if you're interested, my rate is in the description box below. Now, the other thing is this. When you are having your resume, right? If you're writing it yourself, great, because again, you're the only one who knows your experience. You need to limit this resume to 2 pages. 2 pages only, okay? That is the max. If you can get it on 1 page, that's great, but at least if it's on 1 page, hopefully it makes sense, right? But you can have up to 2 pages. Now, the other thing I will say is this. I see a lot of people on LinkedIn with 4 and 5 page resumes. Guys, that does not work. These employers are going through hundreds of resumes that they get. So because they are going through this many resumes, they are having to look and see, and they need to get through these as quickly as possible. So because of this, they're not going to want to sit there and read a book. And they're not going to want to sit there and look at somebody who had maybe multiple positions and they're saying the same thing on each of these positions. So that's one thing that if I was to see that, a 4 or 5 page resume, immediately I'm not even going to look at it, because I want somebody who's going to be respectful of my time as somebody who hires, right? So you have to be respectful of that person who is hiring. So get to the point, and get to the point very quickly. Now, only 2 pages. Only go back 10 to 15 years. Now, if you've only worked in one position your entire career, that is totally fine. You can leave those years on there. However, they are only going to run you back 10 to 15 years. So that's why I say make your resume reflect the most current positions that you've had. So that way you can say, okay, this is what I know. This is the most current stuff. Because they're going to be looking at those years, right? And while they cannot discriminate against you based on age, you still want to make sure that you're showing the most relevant things, right? You don't want something from way back in the day, all right? You want to be at least 10 or 15 years back. If you have been a stay-at-home mom this whole time, this does not mean that you have not been working. You have been a caregiver. You have been a homemaker. So you can put this on your resume. You can put down the things that you have been doing as far as you manage the budget. If you take your kids to the doctor, if you've had to keep track of those medical records, think about that. You're getting into the medical field. Who better, right? If you've had to keep track of your family's medical conditions, then you can say that. You can put that on your resume. That you've been the one to take care of your family's medical paperwork and organize those things, that you handled money, Did you handle the bank accounts? Did you handle the financials, of the house, paying the bills and that kind of thing? That can go on your resume as transferable skills. Because when you think about it, if you're going to start, and sometimes people will start off in medical billing, well, you need basic mathematics to do medical billing, right? Because there's formula math involved. It's basic, so don't panic. There's plus, minus, multiplication, and division, right? So if you know basic math, you can put that down as your skill. And so that's something else that you can put on there. Just because you are not being paid by an employer does not mean that you do not have work experience, especially if you're running a household. And being a spouse, whether you are the one taking care of everything or, if you're the one out working, you still have that time that you can put down as experience. So think about those transferable skills that you kept your family's information private, or you kept it organized, that you managed the bills and that kind of thing, cash handling, that all is transferable. So those are things that you can keep in mind. If you are a volunteer, if you volunteered like at the church or something, and you had to keep private information private, again, that is something that you can put on your resume, that even that you were a volunteer, but that you worked with people, you did conflict resolution, you kept private information private. Those are the things that are very important to our industry. Somebody that can work with different people, different kinds of people, as far as like, your alpha personalities and your regular people, like just your customers that come in. So those are the things that you can put onto your resume. But you need to make sure everything is brief. There shouldn't be any repeating. If you've had multiple positions, you should not be repeating the same thing on all of these positions. They should reflect different things. You have different things that you're doing, different duties, right? Even if it is that you were a cashier someplace. You have money handling experience. You have that you kept control of those credit card receipts and those types of things. So again, that's showing responsibility with those things. So keep every position that you have to where you're reflecting different things for each of these jobs that you have. Make sure that your resume shows your email address and that your email address has your name in it. I have seen too many, even on LinkedIn, where they're complaining that, oh, I can't get a job. I'm looking at their resume and I know exactly why. Because their email address is like queen something or king this or, baby this or baby. No. It needs to be your name. It needs to be your name. You can get a free Gmail account. So if you need to come up with a different email address for your resume, that is totally fine. But you want to make sure that it's with like Gmail or something like that. Please do not use a Yahoo account. I have seen personally too many times where people even will email me from the show, people in the audience, and all of the people who email me from Yahoo accounts, it immediately goes into my spam folder. And I've heard this from other people who do hiring as well. When they get a Yahoo email address, it goes immediately to the spam folder. So that's something that you have to keep in mind. You want to have a really good contact email, and it should have your name in it. Of course, my name is Bleu Garcia. If I have Bleu Garcia, and then at email or whatever, that's fine, because it's showing that that's my name that's in that email address. And it makes it a lot easier for these employers to reach out to you. Make sure that your phone number is on your resume, and it's a good contact number, because again, if you're out there applying, you need to be able to answer the phone. You do not have to put your full address on your resume. You can just put your city and state and zip code. That is totally fine. You can do that, because again, they don't need all of that detail, but they do need to be able to contact you, and that is why they have your email address and your phone number. So that is something that you can keep in mind. Professionally, you need to show what your credentials are. If you have just your name at the top of your resume and no credentials, and you have credentials, again, if a hiring manager is looking at this and aesthetically, like they're looking at it like, oh, okay, well, they have no credentials, next, even though maybe you do, and then you have like your credentials listed way at the bottom of your resume, that's a no-go. Especially if you have 4 or 5 page resume, they don't even know you're certified because they're looking at your name and all they see is your name. Anytime you are certified in this field, you have to show what you are, and it needs to be clear and truthful. Some people have said, well, I put I don't want to put my A on there, the apprentice status. If you are a CPCA, the apprentice status, you have to put that on there because you don't want to be not truthful about your credentials, okay? So make sure that you have them on there and that they are very clear. And you want to make sure that you put your education first. So if you have a degree, you want to put that degree first, and then you want to put your credentials following afterward. If you just have credentials, that is totally fine. Just make sure that they go in order of like which one has more, which one is more difficult. So that is what I would consider, and that's what I would tell people. So make sure you have a good email address, a good phone number to contact. You don't have to put your full address on there, but do put your city and state and your zip code. That would be perfect. Make sure that when you're talking about your professional objective, I see a lot of people make the mistake on LinkedIn. They put professional summary, and they've never been a medical coder. They're looking for a medical coder position. You don't have a professional summary yet. Somebody like me who's had years of experience, yes, I would have a professional summary because this is all the things that I've done in this field of medical coding. This is the field that I want to be in or whatever, right? So if you are starting out brand new and you have no experience, you need to put professional objective. What is your objective? And please don't put something like, oh, well, I want to grow in a place where I can advance my skills. No one cares. They want to know exactly what position you are applying for and what do you have to offer. And then you can state, all the other things that you have in a quick, that you're proficient in whatever, or that you have skills or training in. So those are the things that you want to say in your objective statement. And it needs to be just a few sentences, maybe 3 or 4 sentences, and just that they're complete and that it's in good grammar, obviously. There's lots of resources out there. Grammarly, this is not an ad for Grammarly, but Grammarly is a great place to look at things, right? Or to get things reviewed, because Grammarly will help you to get rid of those grammatical errors. Anytime I see grammatical errors on resumes, again, what I see from LinkedIn, it makes me crazy because there is no reason to have grammatical errors on your resume. With as much support systems as there are out there for writing nowadays, there should be no excuse to ever have any bad grammar. And it doesn't matter if you like to write or if you don't like to write, okay? Everybody is capable of writing their own resume. And I think it's important that people get the idea out of their head. Oh, I can't write a resume. I don't like writing resumes. I don't like writing. You have to get that out of your head as a medical coder. Writing along with communication goes hand in hand for medical coders, because eventually you're going to have to be able to reach out by email to a provider. And sometimes you may be using like a template for queries and things like that. Or you may be sending out just a random educational piece, and it may be just a correspondence back and forth with you and the provider. So you need to get rid of that, oh, I don't like to write, because it is part of this field. So that is just something that you guys got to know. And again, it's 2 pages. It's 2 pages to say basic things about you. You want to make it to where it'll draw the attention of the employer. Look at the job listing itself and make sure that the position that you are saying that you want is exactly the same position that is being said in that job listing. Sometimes these job listings will have medical coders listed off as weird names, like revenue cycle tech or medical records tech, instead of saying medical coder. And so you want to make sure that you have it specifically listed in your resume that way. And it may, you may have to sit there and update your resume each and every single time, but that's part of it, because your resume is your calling card, and this is how employers are going to first notice you. And if you don't follow those simple rules like that, right, it's not going to help you. So that's where you need to kind of just keep that in mind. What else can I say about that? Don't repeat. Make sure that you have your education on there. Make sure you have your certifications on there. And so those are the things that you want to make sure that you have highlighted on there. And let's see. Yeah, so make sure that you look at that job listing, see what skills are they looking for. Don't repeat things as far as like, I see one resume that's floating around the internet. Everybody's copying it because I see it because they'll send it to me. And I'm like, no. If I'm a hiring manager and I see this and it says, oh, proficient in NCD, LCD, or, you know, just medical billing, and then they'll just list every single thing about medical billing, or they'll list every single thing about all these other DRGs and MSDRG. Guys, come on. No. You gotta have some originality in your resume. Again, don't copy what you see on the internet, because it's not gonna help you. Not everybody's skill set is the same, and you have to look at the things that you were trained on in order to share your skills. And if you're bilingual, then you need to put it on there. And before you ask me, well, what does that have to do with it? You never know who that facility is servicing, right? And what population of folks, you know. And so if they find somebody who has a bilingual ability and they need that more than somebody else who doesn't quite have that, you know, you just gave yourself an edge. They don't know you. So that's why you have to be able to put all of this information on there. But again, keep it short and sweet and keep it to the point. There's no sense in adding knowledge of. If you have knowledge of on your resume, you need to take that off. If you have on your skills list, ICD-10 is what you know, that's wrong. And if I'm a hiring manager, I'm immediately going to disregard that resume, because that resume tells me that the person does not use detail. ICD-10 what? ICD-10-CM or ICD-10-PCS? Or were you trained on both? If you were trained on both, you need to list them separately. Please do not be lazy and put ICD-10/CM/PCS. To me, that's lazy, and it shows that, okay, there's no detail here. So that's why I say it's two different things. ICD-10-CM, and if you have the ICD-10-PCS training, ICD-10-PCS. So you list those out separately because they are their own separate things. So that's just my advice anyway, guys. Again, I do resume rewrites. My rate is in the description box below, but I will always recommend that you try to write it out yourself and you try to look at what that job listing is looking for. And sometimes people will tell me, well, I don't want to have to update it every single time. Well, do you want a job in medical coding or not? You know, that's the only way that you're going to be able to get that employer's attention, okay? So that is my advice for today, guys. It is possible. It's not as scary as you might think. It's not as bad as you might think. Resume writing is actually quite fun. I enjoy it. I like the challenge that I've gotten sometimes. Some of the resumes that I've had to write, you have very little information sometimes, and it's just like, or you have very little to go on, and then being able to spin it where you can show that this person has a lot of potential is a wonderful challenge to have, and I like to do that. So, but that's just me and my nerdy ways anyway. So anyway, guys, I'm gonna wrap this one up, but I hope this video helps. And again, if you are looking for just what are they looking for in these jobs, you know, you can look at the job listing itself and it'll tell you right then and there. My advice anyway. So thank you so much for joining me. If this video helped you, I hope that you will share it, like, subscribe, and I will see y'all next time. Bye.